Hey, this is Dan from Bible Prophecy and Truth, and this is the fourth video in a series on understanding Revelation and the timeline of events. And we're going to dive right into chapter 4 today and talk about the first vision that John has, and the first prophetic vision that he has as he's taken in the Spirit and shown things, which is the rest of the book is prophetic. And as we talked about, chapters 1 through 3 really are not. They're things that were existing at the time, the letters to the existing seven churches and all that. And this is the first place where it actually shows future events. As it says, after this I looked, and behold, a door was open in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. This is where it begins the prophetic parts of Revelation. And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. And this is a really interesting view that John has shown, where it shows heaven and a throne and God sitting on the throne, right? But we have to remember that God, to put it in perspective, you have to remember that God is not part of the universe, right? If you were to look everywhere in the universe, in the physical realm, and try to find God, you wouldn't find him, right? Because he's a spirit. As Jesus said, God is a spirit. And Genesis chapter 1, in verse 2, when God created all things, it says that the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, right? It's Jesus, or I'm sorry, God, who is Jesus, is a spirit, right? And he became part of the physical realm, became a man by becoming Jesus Christ, by being born into it, into his own creation. And that's just, it's amazing that God did that, but that's, to put it in the proper perspective, we have to remember that God is not part of the universe. He's not he's not a physical thing that you can see, right? He's a spirit. And so when John is shown these visions, it's a symbolic representation of God. And so we see this throne and like a rainbow round about it. It's like this swirling rainbow, colorful representation and manifestation of God in the physical realm, right? It's kind of, when you look at it, it's really interesting. If we go to Ezekiel chapter 10, we see the same thing that Ezekiel was thrown, shown, where it says, I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the head of the cherubims, there appeared over them as it were a sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne. And these gems, like John says, that it's a jasper and a sardine stone and a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. And Ezekiel saw the same thing. He just describes it in a little different way, but with a gemstone and the colors of them, and it's this amazing view that John saw of representation, a symbolic representation of God. It's really interesting. And then he goes on saying, Round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. And remember, we talked about that in segment 2 when we talked about chapter 1, where it talks about these 7 spirits of God. And remember, it's not 7 physical different spirits of God. As we went and we looked at where it shows us in the Old Testament the 7 spiritual attributes of God. And It doesn't talk about this anywhere in the Bible except in Revelation. It mentions these seven spirits of God, but we have to remember that God is one, that he says over and over and over he's one. He's just the spirit, which is God. And so he's not like seven separate spirits. He's just one God, one spirit. But but as we saw, it's these seven attributes, the spiritual attributes of God, that I believe this is referring to. It's not one of it's one of those things that we can't say absolutely for sure because it doesn't really give us a lot of or any more information about it. And so all we can do is speculate. But when we look at the scriptures that show those seven spiritual attributes of God, then I'm pretty sure that that's what this is referring to. And then verse 6, and before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal. And in the midst of the throne, and round about the throne, were four beasts full of eyes before and behind. And the first beast was like a lion, the second beast like a calf, and the third beast had a face as a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. And the four beasts, each of them 6 wings, had each of them 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes within, and they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, which was and is to come. Now, these beasts are also shown to us in Ezekiel chapter 10, which I'll show you here. I have to find my place in my list. In Ezekiel chapter 10, it shows us the same thing where it's cherubims, which is a class of angel. Right? That's what these beasts are. There's other places in Revelation where it talks about a beast, and we'll talk about it more when we get there, but like specifically in Revelation 13, it talks about the beast, which is the Antichrist. And the beast in that particular passage means a leader or a ruler or a king and the nation that he rules over, right? But here these beasts are actually a cherubim. And it talks about it here in Ezekiel chapter 10, where it has the same angel, cherubim, or beast as it calls it, where it's the face of a cherub, the face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of an eagle. And in Ezekiel chapter 1, it says, well, in verse 15, it says that this is the living creature that I saw by the river of Chebar. And that what he's referring to is Ezekiel chapter 1, where he sees these same creatures. And it's the face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of an ox, and the face of an eagle. So when we put all of these scriptures together, we see that it's actually like it says in Revelation 4, that it's the face of a calf, face of a man, the face of an eagle, and a lion. So we can see that it's an oxen or a male cow, right? And that's so. I'll show you some artist renditions of these that I just found on the internet. What this might look like, right? A winged creature with the 4 faces, and these are just some representations that people have drawn. I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, so I have to find other people's work. But it's just interesting to see these particular what this cherubim, this angel, looks like. And the thing that we don't see on these drawings is it says that they have eyes all over them. They have eyes within, and it's so we can't really we just have to imagine what it might look like. But it's these same 4 beasts that are the 4 beasts, the angels that show John the first 4 seals. When we get to chapter 6, it's these angels that are showing him those visions. It's really interesting. And then, so when we go on, the 4 beasts, each of them 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes within, and they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, which was and is to come. And when those beasts give glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who liveth forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him that sat on the throne, and worship him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, For thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. Now, there's really no information about these 24 elders. The Bible doesn't give us any additional information. The book of Revelation doesn't specifically tell us who they are. And there's a lot of speculation about who they might be, but I'm not even going to speculate because it doesn't tell us any more information. We don't know. There are 24 elders that it shows in this vision that John has, but there's no more information about them. But the vision that John had is the vision of the throne in heaven, the colorful swirling rainbow on the throne, and the gems, the colors of the gemstones, and this representation of God sitting on the throne, and the 24 elders and these four beasts. It's our introduction to them. And we'll see these beasts again, like I said, later on as they're active, showing John the visions. So I'm going to stop this video here, and we will pick it up in the next segment and look at Revelation chapter 5. God bless you.